The first time Cale Rowan spoke to a dragon, he was 3 years old and barely tall enough to reach his mother's knee. The villagers of Thornhaven thought it was imagination, a child's babbling at the sky where the great-scaled beasts circled like distant storms. But Cale insisted he heard them, and more impossibly, they heard him. By the time he turned 16, the whispers had grown louder. Not the dragon's whispers, those had always been clear as morning bells in his mind, but the whispers of his own kind. The humans who watched him stand in fields, head tilted upward, lips moving in conversation, with creatures that had never spoken to anyone else in 10,000 years of galactic history. The Interstellar Council had declared dragons non-sentient, dangerous, beautiful and ancient, yes, but merely animals, planet-bound relics of old worlds governed by instinct rather than thought. Humanity had spread across 72 colony worlds in 3 centuries, and on each world where dragons existed, they were studied, catalogued, and avoided. Never understood. Cale knew better. "They're coming," he said one evening, standing at the edge of Thornhaven's shield barrier. Beyond it, the wilderness of New Verdania stretched in waves of crimson grass and silver trees. His father, Marcus Rowan, chief engineer of the colony, approached with careful steps. "Who's coming, son?" "All of them. Eldris is bringing the Parliament of Scales." Cale's eyes remained fixed on the horizon where 3 moons rose in staggered formation. "They want to speak. Not just to me. To everyone." Marcus felt ice creep down his spine. The Parliament of Scales was legend. A council of elder dragons that supposedly governed their kind. But legends didn't send delegations. Animals didn't hold parliaments. "Cale, the council fleet is arriving tomorrow for the Harvest Festival. If dragons approach the colony now, the automated defenses will—" "I know." Cale finally turned, and his father saw something ancient swimming in his son's young eyes. "That's why they're coming. It's time we all stopped pretending." The dragons arrived at dawn, 73 of them, ranging from juveniles barely larger than shuttlecraft to ancients whose wingspans blotted out the rising sun. They landed in the ceremonial fields outside Thornhaven's walls, and the colony's alarms shrieked their warnings into the morning air. Cale walked through the barrier gate before anyone could stop him. Governor Ashworth's voice crackled over every speaker. "All citizens to shelters. Defense grid activating in 60 seconds. Repeat, all citizens, shut it down." Cale's voice carried a harmonic resonance that hadn't been there yesterday. It rang through the communication channels, bypassing frequencies, touching something deeper. Every human in the colony felt it in their bones, a vibration that said, "Listen." The defense grid powered down. Kyle approached the largest dragon, a creature of midnight scales and eyes like molten gold. Eldris. The name appeared in every human mind simultaneously, not spoken but known. The dragon lowered her massive head until she was level with the human boy who barely reached her smallest claw. "Show them," Cale said softly. Eldris opened her mind. The humans of Thornhaven, all 4,000 of them, suddenly understood. Not through words or translation, but through direct experience. They felt the weight of millennia, the touch of civilizations that had risen and fallen before humanity had even discovered fire. They sensed the vast network of dragon consciousness spanning dozens of worlds, a communication web that operated on principles human science had barely theorized. They realized dragons had been sentient longer than humanity had existed, and they understood why the dragons had remained silent. "We watched your kind spread through the stars." Eldris's thoughts rippled through human minds like wind through wheat. "We saw your wars, your brilliance, your capacity for both creation and destruction. The galactic community deemed us animals because we did not build cities or machines. But we built something your races have not yet imagined. A civilization of pure thought, spanning light years, existing in harmony with worlds rather than upon them." Governor Ashworth pushed through the crowd, her face pale. "Why reveal yourselves now? Why speak through this boy?" Eldris's gaze shifted to Cale, and something like affection colored her thoughts. He was not the first human who could hear us, but he was the first who listened without fear, without the need to dominate or dissect. "He heard us as equals," Cale spoke, his voice steady. "They've been watching humanity's expansion, waiting, testing. Every human child who claimed to hear dragons, to see them not as beasts but as people. Those were tests. Most of us were told we were imagining things, told to grow up and see reality. But you didn't, Eldris continued. You trusted what you knew to be true, even when your entire species told you it was impossible. The interstellar council ship descended through the atmosphere, its sensors detecting the dragon gathering. Admiral Chen's face appeared on every public screen, her expression grave. Thornhaven Colony, you are ordered to activate defensive measures. We're detecting a massive swarm of— They're not a swarm, Admiral. Kale's voice, amplified by Eldris's power, reached the council ship. They're a delegation, and they're inviting humanity to join something we've never been offered before. Eldris spread her wings, and the morning light caught scales that shimmered with colors that had no names in human language. The galactic community consists of species that build and conquer, that measure worth in technology and territory. But there is another community, older, quieter, species that learn to exist within their worlds rather than above them. We dragons serve as bridges between these two philosophies. And you want humanity to join? Governor Ashworth's voice shook. We want humanity to choose, Eldris corrected. Your species is young, aggressive, creative in ways that frighten and inspire. You could become conquerors. The galaxy has seen enough of those. Or you could become something unprecedented. A technological species that learns wisdom before wielding power. Kale felt tears on his cheeks, though he couldn't say why. They're offering to teach us. Not just technology, philosophy, understanding, ways of thinking that take centuries to develop, offered freely. And in return? Admiral Chen's voice was cautious. Protection, Eldris said simply. When other species see humanity allied with the Parliament of Scales, they will think twice before testing your defenses. And advocacy. We will speak for you in councils where your voices have never been heard. The silence stretched for heartbeats. Then Kyle added quietly, She's right about one thing. I wasn't special because I could hear them. I was just the first human in 3 centuries who believed they were worth hearing. Governor Ashworth looked at her colony, at the dragons standing peacefully in the fields, at the boy who had bridged an impossible gap. Admiral Chen, she said slowly, I think you should land. We have much to discuss. Eldris's thoughts carried approval and something warmer. Hope. Your species has a saying, from the mouths of babes. Perhaps it takes a child to remind you that sentience wears many forms, and wisdom speaks in more than words. As the council ship descended, Kale Rowan stood between 2 worlds and smiled. The conversation was just beginning.